Bombings and a shooting in and around the capital Baghdad has left at least 9 people dead and some 24 people injured. Police say a bomb went off near a market in Baghdad's northeastern suburb of Husseiniyah, leaving 4 people dead and 9 others injured. Also north of Baghdad, a bomb blast targeting an outdoor market killed 3 people and wounded 12 others. In the town of Tarmiyah, about 50 kilometers north of the capital, 2 soldiers lost their lives when gunmen opened fire on an army checkpoint. Iraqi officials usually blame similar terrorist attacks on Takfiri militants and former Baathists, whom Baghdad says have formed an alliance to destabilize the country. Well, volunteers are part of Iraqi government forces fighting against the ISIL terrorists. On Friday, Iraqi Interior Minister Mohammed Salim al-Ghaban praised the volunteer forces and said they're playing a significant role in the fight against terrorism. Press TV's Russian Saglam tells us more.
Iraqi Interior Minister Mohammed Salim al-Ghaban held a press conference in Baghdad announcing that volunteer forces have become a major part of the Iraqi forces fighting terrorist groups. He stressed that the volunteers, formed after a call by Grand Ayatollah Ali Sistani, are fighting along with the army. The Interior Minister denied the allegations by some parties that the volunteers are not part of the army and shouldn't be involved in the fight against ISIL. Many politicians believe that without the help of the volunteers, the Iraqi army wouldn't have been able to fight and defeat ISIL in many areas.
One of the most important reasons behind our victories on the ground was the presence of volunteer forces who joined the army to defend their country and the holy sites.
Tens of thousands volunteered to defend Iraq against the ISIL terrorist group after Ayatollah Sistani issued a fatwa calling for jihad against the militants.
The volunteer forces were formed after the security collapse that the army forces had faced in Mosul. Those volunteers were not only able to support the Iraqi army, but also sometimes led the battle. They are playing a very important role on the ground, unlike accusations by some countries such as the UAE, which consider the volunteers as terrorists.
Former Iraqi Prime Minister Nouri al-Maliki told the Press TV that the gap created by the Iraqi forces who withdrew from some areas in Iraq upon the entry of ISIL back in June were filled with the volunteer forces, and that it was a very important and wise decision. The volunteer forces have been fighting alongside the army, achieving numerous victories. They have a pledge to continue the fight until liberating all militant held territories. Rahshan Saglam, Press TV, Baghdad.